Welcome to the weekly AAP radio call, everyone. Good morning to our friends in
Thank
the
you.
Western Hemisphere, and good evening to those in the Eastern Hemisphere, specifically our guest of the day today, Shri Rakesh Kr Sinha ji. Welcome to the call. Happy belated Diwali because we have not spoken since. And happy
Thank you.
Bhai Dooj to everybody.
Thank you very much.
Rakesh ji, welcome. And you will, this is probably your first go around with our radio call. We have a weekly call,
Yeah.
which we bring in distinguished guests and important party workers such as yourself so that we can learn about what are some current actions and events and organize ourselves to support those and also inspire us and also inspire those around us with the right way to serve the nation. So first, thank you for your service to the nation through AAP. Welcome, Rakesh Kumar Sinha ji, and please begin with your introduction.
Thank you. Good morning to all the listeners. I am Rakesh Kr Sinha, and presently I am working as a special advisor to the Chief Minister of Delhi government, Sri Arvind Kejriwal ji. Besides, I am also holding some positions in party that I am in charge of the National Convener's Office in party headquarters. I hold a dual position in Aam Aadmi Party government also and in the party structure. That's one thing. I am basically a civil servant of 1991 batch. I worked in the government of India for about 22 years, and then in the month of February 2014, I quit the service. I was holding the rank of Deputy Inspector General at that time. And I quit the service, and I had many things in my mind at that time. Initially, I thought that I would be in the political and the legal domain working for the people. But in the meantime, some of my close friends had already joined Aam Aadmi Party. So I had a great motivation to join this party, and I was following its activity since 2012. And I have been watching how this India Against Corruption movement was unfolding and how it has taken the entire country into its fold. I was very impressed. Though I had the plan of joining as a lawyer, but since Aam Aadmi Party has already emerged the time when I quit the service, it was just natural for me to walk into Aam Aadmi Party, and that I did. Once I went to the party and I introduced myself, I already had many friends in the party. I remember the first time when I met Sri Arvind Kejriwal ji. He sent me to Chandni Chowk, Lok Sabha, to help Ashutosh, who was contesting a Lok Sabha election in 2014. After that Lok Sabha election, I was given different portfolios in the party, the most important being made the legal head of the party and the person in charge to liaise with the Election Commission of India. That was a role that I performed during 2014-15 elections, in which the party returned with 67 seats out of 70. So I can take a legitimate pride of being in that group and that winning team. Thereafter, I was given the responsibility to take over as the internal lokpal of the party, since I had the background of a police officer and also being a law graduate and a registered lawyer in Delhi. So it met the requirement of lokpal. So at that time, probably when Admiral Ramdas was lokpal and his tenure had ended, so I was given the responsibility. So the responsibility which I discharged for about 6 months. Then after the national convener and then Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal wanted me to join the government. So I had to quit my position as the Lokpal, and I became a special advisor to the Chief Minister in the government of NCT of Delhi, the position I still hold. But since there were certain issues between Lieutenant Governor and Chief Minister, and the working environment had virtually collapsed after August 2016, so I decided to give more time to the party activities. So I was drafted into the party structure and given certain responsibilities, which I am discharging till now. And the most important point which one would like to know from me, that what actually inspired me to join Aam Aadmi Party. I tell you that I come from a background of Jawaharlal Nehru University, JNU, which had a leftist leaning. I was there for about 6.5 years From there, I cleared civil services and joined government. I always believed that the country could be made better by following certain policies which are pro-people. Unfortunately, the government of those days, BJP, Congress and BJP now, they have not actually done that much. I was looking for a kind of alternative politics. Thankfully, I had that in the form of Aam Aadmi Party when I quit the service. And I'm proven right also that once I joined the party and the party came into the power in Delhi, which has of course a very limited authority, but still it had done wonderful things for the people, particularly poor people. And I appreciate the activities of the party and the performance of the party, though in a very limited way in Delhi. And I wish once this party comes to power in a full-fledged state, it can do wonders. And the country will definitely change once Aam Aadmi Party can come to the center and run the entire country. I'm waiting for that day. Whatever I'm doing for the last 5 years is basically following my dreams for the country, which I can think that can be done, can be achieved through Aam Aadmi Party. So Aam Aadmi Party is a kind of vehicle for me to realize my dreams for the country, which I always had. I'm very happy to be in the party. I'm personally very well anchored in my life. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not actually seeking anything for me at the moment, nor even in the future. So I'm very well anchored. I can wait. I have the patience. I'm not the kind of people who will be overcritical of every decision of the party which takes. I'm happy what the party is doing, and I'm also happy what kind of trust that the party has given to me. And I feel honored to be a part of the party leadership and the party structure. This is what I can tell you briefly about me, and you can ask me further, then I can elaborate it more.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sinha. Really appreciate that introduction, and want to begin by thanking you again for your service and for what you have given up, all that you have given up in your career and personal life.
Rakesh, this is Arjun. I'm from North Carolina on the East Coast of US. Sir, so the question is, in between, during that introduction, you mentioned about the election commission, those engagement that you had. My question is about the recent issue that came out from Delhi, that about, I think, 10 lakhs voters being taken out from the voters list.
Yeah.
How do you see that? Because I'm just curious how these things are happening, and who all are involved and how it is happening. If you can give us some insight into that, and what is the solution? Is that a scary thing that we could lose the election in in the future because of all these games being played in the back?
See, I tell you that vigilance is the price for independence that we have to pay. We have to be vigilant about the voter list. There is a system about monitoring the voter list. We have to appoint booth-level assistant, and only a recognized party in a state can appoint that. I remember in 2014-15, we had appointed in every assembly constituency one BLA, and that BLA can further appoint one booth-level officer from the party side in every booth. So this is a structure that we have to follow. I believe that in last 3-4 years, probably that structure was probably not in place, and some crooked people, I can name the political parties which are against us in Delhi, they managed to influence the Election Commission of India and their lower functionaries who are responsible for the verification of the voter list. And they got many names removed from the voter list who were Aam Aadmi Party supporters, and many of them are the family members of our MLAs. So one can understand that these things do happen behind the curtain, and one has to be always be vigilant. So we have to immediately put our this BLA system in place and to challenge every such deletion from the voter list that we are doing. In the last 1 month, when we found that about 10 lakh voters have been removed. And I tell you, you said scary. It is indeed scary. See, these political parties can manipulate everything of Election Commission of India to win election. be it EVM, be it removal of the names from the voter list, or be it including fake voters in the list. All these things are happening. So what I said initially, that we have to always be vigilant, and I would expect Aam Aadmi Party, and I would play my role wherever is required, to create a robust system that we are always vigilant. Every month and every week we must go through our voter list booth-wise, and there has to be somebody responsible to do that. And if he finds any new addition and deletion, he can immediately challenge. So this is what I say, that once we are vigilant, we can definitely overcome this problem. And I believe that the party has woken up to this situation. It is alarming, and now we have taken the right steps, and we are going to challenge this, not only in the Election Commission of India. If it is required, we will also challenge it in the court of law.
Got it. So are we too late in the game for our upcoming Lok Sabha election, or do we have enough time to, get those people added back into the voters list?
No, we are not late. We need not to be worried. We are not late because there will be another revision of the electoral rolls by the end of this year, and we have already put our people in places, and they will ensure that all those names which are deleted, they are included back, and the fake names are removed. So we have time to contest this. We have time to fight this out. So there is not much of worry. But as I told you initially, that we have to be vigilant, and we have to practically allot one booth to every volunteer. There are over 16,000 booths, polling booths in Delhi. So we need to have at least one person responsible for every booth, so that he always monitors any new addition and deletion. So that we have to ensure, if we have to save ourselves from this kind of situation in future. We are not short of time. We can handle this.
Thank you, Sajanji, for a good question. Please continue the next
Very good question. I appreciate, Sajanji, you raised a very important question.
This is Arun from New Hampshire. Hi. So my question is, what is our strategy for the EVM problem?
See, EVM, earlier I believed that EVM cannot be tampered with. That was my position while I was in the government. Once I came to the party, I was made in charge of the legal cell which had the primary duty to interact with the Election Commission of India. So then I came to know there are many things which can happen within EVM. And to ensure that it is not tampered, we have to really be very, very alert at every stage of the EVM management. I tell you, once the elections are announced, then the EVMs are brought in to that particular state, and then it is distributed to the districts, and it goes to every assembly or Lok Sabha constituency as the case may be. So once these EVMs are brought in, then there is a procedure that the election officers, they will call the representatives from the political party to come and see the opening of the EVMs and the cleaning of the EVMs, servicing of the EVMs. There are many stages, and we have to be present in those stages. What happens that a correspondence will come from the Election Commission of India. It gets lost somewhere, whereas it was required that our people should attend. Our people should attend those activities with EVM, where it is opened, it is cleaned. Those are the places where the tampering can take place. Moreover, we need to actually train our people. Not many people are actually aware of the functioning of the EVM. It requires a huge training, and it is a big challenge for every political party. So EVM problem is not affecting Aam Aadmi Party alone. It is affecting many other parties. So what we need to do is to actually have a kind of workshop for our local officials of the party, and tell them where these EVMs can be tampered and how it can be tampered and what are the points to look after. Once they go for any such meeting where the EVMs are operated and EVMs are opened and cleaned, what are the points they have to actually check? So it requires a huge training, and I believe it is a challenge for the party, and we are actually working on that. We need to have a team in every district. Like we have political districts. Delhi has 9 districts, but we have 14 districts, political districts. In every district, we have 5 assembly constituencies. So we have to find out our office bearers in those districts and also in those assembly constituencies and train them. Which are the points they have to be alert. They have to be really looking into once they go for these kind of EVM checkings. So that is the one issue. Secondly, there has to be a widespread awareness campaign, not only to our party functionaries, but also to the people in general, that these EVMs are hacked and they are not foolproof. And I tell you, there are many NGOs and there are many political parties which are demanding that no matter it takes time, but we have to go back to the ballot paper. And I tell you, because there are examples. Recently, there was an election of the local bodies in UP, India. And wherever the polls were conducted on the ballot paper, the other parties won. Wherever the polls were conducted on EVM, BJP won. So these things are not incidental. There is certain conspiracy behind it. So I, as a member of a political party, officially also I demand that elections should be held on ballot paper, because control of EVM is really difficult and ordinary party worker cannot actually handle. They are not software engineers. And these bigger parties which are in power, they can hire many engineers and then can employ them to hack those EVMs and tamper with those EVMs, which people like us in an Aam Aadmi Party cannot match. So we demand that the election should be held on ballot paper, besides training our people, our volunteers, our officials at the assembly and the Lok Sabha level to know what are the things which can be done in EVM, how it is tampered. It requires a kind of training. That's what I feel.
Okay, one last question. What is your take on Punjab? Was it manipulated?
I'm inclined to believe that it was manipulated. Because the kind of evidences that we got later on, that some of the family members of the candidates voted and those voters were not found in the EVM. So I'm inclined to believe that it did happen.
Okay, that's all I have. Yeah.
Thank you for another great question.
Hi, my name is Aditya. I'm calling from Fredericton in Canada. So in continuation to EVM question, there is one narrative which is being built on like the EVM with, if we don't use EVM, then we are going back 20 years past. And there has not been any study or any research released how much EVM cost, because every 5 to 10 years there is a new generation of EVM and the old one needs to be removed.
You can answer my question by how the elections are taking place in USA. Recently there were elections to the House of Representatives and the Senate. I guess it is on ballot paper, isn't it? So many developed countries have now got rid of EVMs because those are not foolproof. See, what we have to actually guard is the democracy, is the people's verdict. No matter how much it costs, how much time it takes, what is important, the correct mandate of the people should come. And those who are actually elected by people should come to the legislative assemblies and parliament. That is most important. So if there is any doubt, shred of doubt about EVM, it should straight away be dispensed with. That's my opinion. Because this technology thing, I'm not a technocrat, so I cannot explain that what is first generation EVM or what is the second generation EVM. I do understand that technologies do improve time to time. And there are certain things which we can ensure. Like I remember that the last Chief Election Commissioner had given a promise that at least 10% of the EVM voting, there will be that, that paper cutting. So they use, there's something they call it. I'm just forgetting the word. So you can have the paper trails of the EVM votings. But that was also
VVPAT,
not honored in the subsequent election. VVPAT, that is the correct word. I was forgetting that. So VVPAT things also, see, if there is a doubt in the mind of people and the political parties, what is so difficult for the Election Commission of India and the BJP to insist that there will not be? See, I'm trying to say that it is important for Election Commission of India to appear to be independent and unbiased. Not taking required action, desired action in respect of EVM is putting the credibility of Election Commission of India under doubt, under cloud. This is what I'm saying. So Election Commission of India should take care of the feelings of the voters of India. So if they are not able to replace EVM with the ballot papers, at least they can do this VVPAT thing. At least 25% of votes can be counted on paper also. We are not in hurry. See, we can wait for 5 years to change the governments. We can wait for another 2 days to complete the counting. Who is in hurry to get the results within 2 hours or 3 hours? Those results are polluted, contaminated. So why should we go for that result? Maybe it is time saving, but it doesn't give you the satisfaction.
Yeah.
Election
Correct.
Commission of India is mandated by by the Constitution of India to hold free and fair elections. It should do everything within its means to ensure that. If it cannot replace the EVM with the ballot paper, at least it can do that VVPAT thing. Certain percentage of the vote cast must be counted, must be matched with paper trail.
Correct, Mr. Sinha.
These are
Thank
the
you for
political
sharing.
matters. We have to continue applying pressure for that. Yes, please.
Correct. Thank you for sharing that perspective. As you may have heard, or I'm sure you must know that we had midterm elections in the United States last week. And as I was
Yes.
casting my vote on a ballot paper, I was thinking about that despite being one of the most developed countries, even though it doesn't feel very developed in the last 2 years, but despite
Exactly.
being a developed country, we have been using ballot papers even when there were disputes. And obviously the votes are not as one-sided. We decide our political future based on 48-52 kind of percentages, not as much 70-30
Yeah.
or 80-10. But despite that, there's
Yes.
ballot papers everywhere. Even we can go back 8 years and find proof and records and multiple records. If you doubt one, you can double check against one. So yeah, there's a case to be made for ballot paper going not just now, but also well into the future. So thank you for stating that point.
Yes, sure. Yes, I
Just to
fully agree.
close
This is
out
what
that,
our demand is.
correct. That to close out the question, do you think that kind of system can be put in place before the 2019 Lok Sabha election?
See, I would like to this to happen, but I also believe that the party in power will resist this idea, will not let this happen, but we will continue fighting it, and we will definitely demand certain percentage of the votes to be counted through this VVPAT thing, if not possible to convert it to ballot paper voting. So this will remain our demand, and not only Aam Aadmi Party's demand, but it will be the demand of many other political parties at the national level or at the regional level. This is the demand put forward by many other parties, not only by Aam Aadmi Party. We seriously doubt the credibility of EVMs. This is our political position.
Thank you. Thank you. Next
So
question,
I have,
please. Introduce yourself. Yeah.
so this is Arun again. I have something to share on this. So there is
Yes, please.
history on this subject. It seems that if the number of candidates exceeds a threshold, they have to go to the ballot paper.
Yeah,
And it
it's true.
seems in Andhra
Yeah, it's
Pradesh,
true.
it was used against Chandrababu Naidu, and they won. They won landslide. 12 out of 14 they won, and in the previous election they lost miserably. So they fielded about certain amount of candidates who were more than that threshold, and they had to go to the ballot paper.
Sir, this is Jeshwant. I'm from Los Angeles.
Yes, Jeshwant.
Sir, can you please throw some light on Chhattisgarh elections and
Yes.
how we can help you? I think we have very short time, I guess.
See, Chhattisgarh is going for polls on 12th of this month and on 20th of this month. A certain number of seats will be polling on 12th, about 18 of them, and remaining on 20th. I happen to be in charge of the election campaign there, and I have spent quite a few weeks there. See, Chhattisgarh, we find an opening. We find an opening for the reason that the climate, that demography, political climate, I mean, and the demography of Chhattisgarh suits Aam Aadmi Party's ideology. That's the one thing. And secondly, that is a state which actually requires a government which is capable of taking pro-people decisions and policies. Something which has not happened in the case of Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh has remained in the hands of BJP most of the years after it was formed. And the BJP, as you know, that it works for the capitalists and they are for the corporates. So there is a large section of people which are deprived there and which are distressed, and they are looking for an alternative. But the question that arises for Aam Aadmi Party in every state, whether the voters are looking at us as a viable alternative or not. They need to look at as a viable alternative. They need to believe that we can form the government and we can change their future. Something that has not happened in some of the states where we contested limited number of seats. You know that we contested in other states limited number of seats because of what the local state unit wanted or our volunteers wanted. That is not the solution. Chhattisgarh, we are in a better position. That Chhattisgarh, we were working there for quite a few years under the able leadership of Gopal Raiji, who is Prabhari. I am looking after the election affairs there only. So Chhattisgarh, they have been able to build a kind of organization at every assembly constituency level and gone down further to the polling center level. So that is much better an organization in Chhattisgarh in comparison to other states. As I told you in my introduction, that I am in charge of National Convener Office. In that capacity, I interact with every state. That's my job, part of the job. So I know the health of the party, the status of the party in every state. So comparing the situation in Chhattisgarh, I find that we are better placed in Chhattisgarh. That's one thing. And election, we are contesting on a very strong footing. Today, we have released our manifesto there. And you can go through that manifesto, and it covers every point and every issue that Chhattisgarh has been facing over these years. So we are able to make a dent in Chhattisgarh. That's important. And secondly, I can also share that after the Chhattisgarh result, Aam Aadmi Party would become a national party. How it will happen, that I can tell you that we still have 4 MPs in Lok Sabha. And in 3 states, we have more than 6% of the vote share in the last held election. In Chhattisgarh, if we get more than 6% of vote, and of course many seats also, then probably between November and April, we have that window to strike, to hit that position. When we become a national party, we will straight away move to Election Commission of India and claim the status of national party. That is going to be a big development post Chhattisgarh election. And I'm pretty sure, not only as a worker of the party, but also as manager of election in Chhattisgarh, that we are going to cross that threshold and we return with quite a good number of seats. But in Chhattisgarh, the contest has become multi-corner. Earlier, it was only Congress and BJP, but Congress was divided, and there is another faction called Jogi Congress, Ajit Jogi Congress, which allied with Bahujan Samaj Party. This is the kind of third option they have, and the fourth is Aam Aadmi Party. But the situation is different in different constituency. At some places, there is a triangular contest. In some places, there is a direct contest. I know many constituencies where Aam Aadmi Party is in direct contest with Congress, not even with the BJP. This is what the reports are coming. So it will be very interesting to see the outcome of Chhattisgarh election. And we are very hopeful that we will return with a very good number of seats. And definitely we will be crossing the threshold of 6% of vote by big margin. That's what I can feel about. But it's too close. And there will be quite a bit of division of votes. We are also doing our part well. We had announced our candidates much earlier, but the one problem that we faced in Chhattisgarh was of the finances. Our candidates were not that well off. They could not come out with the resources, pull up the resources that are required to contest the election. But within those constraints, we have done well. We have campaigned well, our senior leaders have gone, and it was well managed. So the results
Thank you,
are
Mr.
better.
Sinha.
Let's see what happens.
So, sir, you said that elections are tomorrow and then on 20th.
Yes.
And you also mentioned the manifesto was released yesterday. So why the delay in manifesto
Yes.
if we have been prepared?
Normally, manifestos are released very close to the polling dates. It's not released much in advance. There are many reasons for that. First of all, that we would like our voters to be fresh with this information. If we release our manifesto well in advance, then by the time the person goes for voting, probably would forget many of the points. So we would like that our voters remember fresh. So therefore, this is a kind of practice that the manifestos are released very close to the dates of polling. So we have done that way. And majority of the seats are going to polls on 20th. I believe about 72 of them are going on 20th. Only 18 assembly constituencies are going to polls on 12th. So we are very well within the time limit. And it takes time, and we also do not want that our manifesto is copied by many other political parties. That we do not want. We want that our manifesto is released and nobody is able to copy it. So that is one of the reasons. And the best reason that I told you, that we would like our voters to remember fresh once he goes to vote. And I would also like you to know that we are contesting Uttarakhand Civic Bodies poll. And the polling date is on 18th, and I am being state in charge of Uttarakhand. So naturally, I am also looking forward to the results of Uttarakhand civil poll because we are contesting on our symbol. That's very important. And we are likely to open our account in Uttarakhand, and that would augur well for that state in the coming assembly election in 2022. I would like my friends in USA to wish luck to our candidates who are contesting in Uttarakhand, and I tell you, we will definitely give you a very good news on 20th when the results will come out, and you will find that Aam Aadmi Party has already made its roots in one more state in India. And that would be I would be very proud to announce this to my friends in USA. Please wish luck to me and to my candidates in Uttarakhand.
So, Mr. Sinha, attrition is natural. कुछ लोग आते हैं, कुछ लोग जाते हैं, and that is a natural process.
Yes,
and we hear about it from the press, which obviously is untrustworthy. But we hear about Ashutosh Ji, Mr. Khitan, and in Punjab, Mr. Kher leaving, etc. In addition, requires a lot of effort, inspiration, and as you mentioned the word earlier, vigilance. So what is your feeling about additions, inspiration, etc.? I mean, what is your temperature about the party inspiring people to join? Obviously, around 2016 or so, there was this euphoria. Where is it now? What is fueling, and what efforts are underway? Organized efforts are underway to do that.
So this is a very, very important question that you have raised, and I'll give answer very carefully. See, you talked about attrition. It is true. Some of our friends are not active now, or many of them have left. I tell you, once this Aam Aadmi Party was constituted, you also know you were a part of that. There was a lot of lateral movement from the civil society. Not many people had joined from the political background. Many people came from the civil society. And I also consider myself a part of that movement, lateral movement, coming from civil society, bureaucrats, technocrats, journalists, and people from the NGOs and academicians. Many such people had joined. Artists had joined. Many of them had joined. So they all constitute civil society. They were not political people. See, the civil society has a different dimension of discussion, and they are not political people. And there are also, some of them are highly critical of everything. So decision making becomes very difficult if you have far too many people questioning, throwing far too many questions. So that is one of the problems. And since it was a kind of an open platform for Aam Aadmi Party, so many people who joined from the civil society, be it advocates or academicians or whatsoever, so they were very vocal about the party's activity, party's policy, something which is not done actually in electoral politics. See, a movement is a movement. NGO is an NGO. You can create a kind of movement, but once you become party, then there are certain decorum to be followed, I believe. So the people who came from the civil society and they were highly charged up, they probably wanted to change the world within a day or within a few months. So they were, I would say that they were restless. And secondly, they could not actually digest the transition from and movement to a political party. See, ideological battle is something else. Electoral battle is something else. Electoral battle has a different set of rules. So once we became a political party and once we were going for elections, the rules change. Those rules are not the same of India against corruption. The rules change. And party worker and party volunteer has to actually digest with those changes. And what happens that once you are from a civil society and you consider yourself highly intellectual, so you start questioning those decisions. which are important to run a political party, a political establishment. So we have to digest certain facts. Maybe, probably not very happily, but since we are contesting elections, we have to play with the same rules. For us, the rules are not different. See, India is not basically run by NGOs and by those revolutionaries. A political person is a political person. This is the same country where Irom Sharmila, after being fast unto death for 14 years, got only 74 votes in her own state. I tell you, tomorrow, if you put Mother Teresa in assembly constituency to contest election, probably she would lose in India. So these are the realities. So once we become a political parties and we want to transform the country by coming to the power, for that the election is one route. So we have to follow the norms of election. So whatever it requires to become an effective player in the electoral politics, we have to make certain adjustments and changes in our policies. So those names that you are taking, probably they could not digest with the changes that party required to make. So that is the problem.
Right. Politics and
one has to be patient.
Prior life may be very different. I'm sure you have noticed that from your prior civil service life over to politics requires a lot of adjustment.
Yes.
Not everybody is able to graduate from one over the other.
Yes, so exactly. You have to make adjustment.
So one is like, I've been following Aam Aadmi Party maybe even before it was formed. Like I've been following Arvind Kejriwal. And I really love the way like you guys did work in Delhi. I mean, starting from campaign to till now, focusing on infrastructure and schools and hospitals. So one thing is like, I feel that states like Rajasthan, Haryana, Chhattisgarh, there we may have a great potential for Aam Aadmi Party because people don't like the current government there, right? And we know that we have very limited funds. So what are we doing differently so that our volunteers are reaching to the masses? And how are we convincing people like, all day today, Aam Aadmi, how are we convincing Aam Aadmi that they should vote for Aam Aadmi's candidate, Aam Aadmi Party's candidates, and not for BJP and Congress, and why? I mean, because I think that Ghar Ghar Gali Gali campaign was really successful in Delhi, and I'm not sure like doing that level of campaigning in all these states where elections are, going to occur next few months and next year.
And Mr. Sinha, this is Mr. Sandeep Agarwal from Frisco, Texas, asking the question.
See, we are definitely short in terms of finances and resources. But I tell you one thing, I have seen politics for many years, and I believe that the strength of selfless political worker is maximum in Aam Aadmi Party. Today, we have probably a good number of volunteers in every assembly constituency where we are contesting elections, something the BJP and Congress do not have. They can have paid workers at the time of election. The kind of selfless workers that we have and motivated workers that we have in our party is definitely, it will bring a lot of joy to your heart seeing them. And I interact with them, many of them, on regular basis. So I tell you that we can compensate the lack of resources with the kind of motivated volunteers we have. So that is the kind of compensation that we have. So we can work harder. We can compensate it with our manual effort. We can work harder. And that is what we have been doing in many states. Chhattisgarh campaign I was personally monitoring. And I will also be going to Rajasthan next week. So we are mostly dependent on our selfless workers. That's one thing. They are going door to door. And today we have one model to show to them. That is the Delhi governance. I'm a part of the Delhi government, and I can take a pride in saying that Delhi government is something unique that has happened in independent India, a model which can be proudly displayed in every state, and that is something we are doing it. And the one thing that we can show to people in other states and motivate them to vote for Aam Aadmi Party is by showing that how Delhi had decided to vote in favor of Aam Aadmi Party, how Delhi has been benefited by that decision. Delhi is one example that Delhi voted overwhelmingly for Aam Aadmi Party without any such divisive factor like caste, creed, religion. They voted. They just voted. 54% of Delhi voters voted for Aam Aadmi Party. So this is a kind of example which can be spoken about, that once we forget these divisive factors of caste, region, and the family, clan, etc., and we decide to vote in favor of development and an honest government, we can bring in Delhi government model in practically every state. This is something that our workers are telling the voters, that you should not be voting because of somebody is from your caste or from somebody is from your family. You should be voting for an honest politics. So that requires a lot of briefing, and that requires a lot of physical movement, which our people are doing. We also believe that Aam Aadmi Party has, whatever happened in between, there were certain issues also, but all said and done, Aam Aadmi Party has grown in stature in India. And many of our critics, they have started believing no matter there were certain issues on which they were earlier very critical, they are happy with our performance. And there is a kind of undercurrent. There is a kind of undercurrent in every state that Aam Aadmi Party is truly an honest party, and it will use the government money, the public exchequer, to the benefit of people, and it will not indulge in any corruption. This is our USP, and this is the USP which we have to sell to every state, to every voter. It requires a lot of effort, I understand. But we have also recently launched a campaign for donation in which we have motivated the people of India that if you want clean politics, you have to give your money for the politics. Because we are not taking donation from the corporates. And no corporate will give a donation to us. Because we have not done anything for the corporate. We are doing for the poor people. We are the only government in independent India which has raised the minimum wages to 150%. So once you raise the minimum wages, do you think the trade and industry and the corporate will give you donation? Once you make your government hospitals as good as the private hospitals, do you think that these big mafias who own big hospitals will donate you? No. If you have improved the schools to their status that it is better than private schools, do you think this private school mafia will donate you? These were the people who were actually donating the political parties previously. So we have done everything to disqualify us from getting these corporate donations. So we are basically asking honest people to give their honest money for honest politics. So this is a kind of movement that we have recently launched, and the effects are very good. And we are asking every individual, if you want a change in the politics, the change must start from your home. You at least start giving 100 rupees per month donation to the political parties which is trying to bring in clean politics in India. So this is a kind of movement which has to be spread all over India. So there are two ways. First of all, we have to ask our people, our voters to donate for us, and our volunteers to go door to door and tell people about our achievements as a political party and what the Delhi government has done.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much for the detailed answer.
Thank you, Mr. Sinha. And it is a perfect segue to the end of the call topic, which is, funding. It is people's agenda, and it has to be funded by people's money by design, as Mr. Sinha has just outlined.
Exactly.
So with that, thank you very much, Mr. Sinha. I will also make one more public service announcement for our own sake. AAP Ka Radio is an important venue. It's an important medium for us to bypass all these biased media. So please make sure you spread the word in your WhatsApp groups, your Facebook, everywhere, and also in India and also here in the North American. So please do that, and let's have more lively discussions, hopefully longer and more frequent discussions. With that, we respect your time, Mr. Sinha. You took time away from your very busy schedule, especially given the Chhattisgarh and Uttarakhand elections. So good luck in everything, and we are with you and very inspired after this conversation. Any last comments, Mr. Sinha? The floor is yours.
Yes, I would like to thank you personally, Jasmine, and all the team which has done this today and brought me in discussion with our friends abroad. I really appreciate the time that you all have given, the interest you have shown. And I tell you that we look forward to you, we look up to you for all kind of support, moral support and every kind of thing. And you spread word, you are influencers, and you can do wonderful things for the growth of Aam Aadmi Party. I will be very happy to ordinarily also discuss any issue with my friends abroad. You can feel free to talk to me. You can email me. It also helps me to learn many things. Like we are here in India, there are many things which we might overlook. You are watching us. You can guide us. You can direct us, and you can really motivate us. So I look forward to be in touch with all my friends overseas, and thank you very much for the kind of discussion that we held today, and I was able to explain whatever I could. So I'm very happy with the arrangement, whatever you have done. Thank you very much, everybody.